Next, we will discuss the whole thing, how to write complex numbers in the form a plus bi. We just finished talking about this term of a complex number, the imaginary part that has the I part. In the purple box, it says, given real numbers a and b, a number written in the form a plus bi is called a complex number. The value a is called the real part, and the value bi is called the imaginary part. So, for example, we've got the complex number 5 minus 7i. It can be rewritten as 5 plus a negative 7i. And so the real part is the 5. The imaginary part is the coefficient of the I, the negative 7. Now, we can write any number, whether it is real or imaginary, or put together a complex number in the form a plus bi. So in a complex number form of a plus bi, if the b is 0, we just have the real part, a. The real number 4, you know the number 4. It can be written as a complex number, 4 plus 0i. There are occasions where you might want to write 4 as 4 plus 0i. Now, if a is equal to 0 and you only have the imaginary part, the b term, we say that that is pure imaginary. So the number 8i can be written as 0 plus 8i, or just simply 8i, the pure imaginary 8i. It says a complex number written in the form a plus bi is in standard form. So with that being said, we're sometimes going to write a minus bi instead of a plus a negative bi, like we did above. We would write 5 minus 7i over 5 plus a negative 7i. That is still going to be in standard form. Okay. We also discussed this. If we have the real part 5 and then the imaginary part square root of 3i, we are going to prefer to write the I part in front of the radical so as not to confuse that it is underneath the radical. Careful about that. So writing some numbers in standard form, the first thing we're going to do here on 34 is we're going to split the fraction. This is equivalent to 4 over 6 plus 5i over 6. Now you know 4/6 will reduce to 2/3 plus 5 times I over 6 is the same thing as 5/6 times I. You don't really have to write the dot there, but I did. So this is now in the form, the complex number form, standard form, a plus bi, where the a is the 2/3 and the imaginary part, the b, is the 5/6. On number 38, the first thing we should do is simplify this square root of negative 50. So our problem is negative 20 plus, let's work on this part of it. The square root of negative 50 will break down into the square root of 50 times the square root of negative 1. 50 has a factor that's the perfect square. 25 times 2 is 50. Let me go ahead and write my I right there. So for this term, for square root of negative 50, it simplifies to be 5i times the square root of 2. So let's write that, okay? 5i times the square root of 2. Now that is being all divided by a negative 10 in our problem. Next, like we did on number 34 to the left, we're going to split the fraction. So we have negative 20 over negative 10 plus, and let me go ahead and write 5 square root of 2, and then I'll bring the I over here, over a negative 10. That way it's somewhat in the form a plus bi, and it will be once we clean that up. Negative 20 divided by negative 10 is a positive 2. And over here, when we reduce the 5 with the 10, we will get just a plus square root of 2 over negative 2i. Now, instead of writing plus a negative, the preferred way to write this is going to be 2 minus square root of 2 over 2i. I'm not really sure why my blue pen got thick all of a sudden, but it just did. It decided to do that on me.